Come back for him too. That's awesome. I didn't realize. I don't know why the hell I didn't know that.
It ignited the community, that's for sure. But we'll switch gears a
Yeah,
little
no,
bit.
that's good.
First of all, talk to us about this meeting. You met with some important people, the mayors.
Yeah, no, yesterday at the State of the State made a point that, the days of Sacramento driving by or past the Central Valley are over. And I know we pay a lot of lip service to that, and I know people in my position always say this, governors come and go, but there's a sentiment that I think is very real, that we don't do justice to the needs of the Central Valley. And so at my State of the State yesterday, I made a concerted effort to call that out and to express my desire to be part of the change and focus with different intentionality on economic development and supporting mayors up and down the valley. And so purpose of today's meeting, meet with Merced Mayor, Fresno Mayor, Bakersfield Mayor, talk about what I can do to help support their efforts here.
Thank you. And one of the questions on social media after the State of the State, talking high-speed rail for us, talking about this phase in the Central Valley, no path, San Fran to LA. Will the Central Valley portion ever connect to the Silicon Valley?
Yeah, I'm confident it will. There was a lot. It was interesting just reading the headlines that were actually different than a lot of the articles, but the headlines were a little bit aggressive. Look, my whole point is to get this project back on track. We've been asserting a lot of things for a decade. We're way over our estimates in terms of cost, timelines, and people are frustrated. And people have the right to be not just frustrated, but angry about it. Because a lot of people think we're wasting time, energy, and money, and the common sense hasn't been as present in this project as it should be. So my goal was to get this back on track, to be honest and sober about what it is and what it isn't. And right now, it's a project with the money that we've identified that can be complete between Merced and Bakersfield. At the same time, we can anchor the future by concurrently doing the environmental work to get it valley to valley, Silicon Valley to the Central Valley, and ultimately make a case once the project is complete by 2027 here in the Valley, that we can make a case to the private sector and the federal government to get it down to Los Angeles.
And is that kind of the hope that that first phase will maybe start generating some income to pay for those future?
Right now, it's just a buckshot. I mean, we're shooting here and here and here. There's 100 million there, there's 200 million. People are competing for billions there. And you look at the bond, you're like, wait, you're going to have no money left, and you're going to have nothing, quite literally nothing to show for it. So right now, we can get this back on track, complete that 171 mile project, and quite literally do it with the money that we have currently identified, and then continue the effort to make a case, once we've proven this technology, proven this project can be done, to make the case to the rest of the state in a way that I think produces real results as opposed to just rhetoric, press releases, and a lot of misdirection.
And what do you think about the people who say, well, now we're just going to have Amtrak 2.0 here, it's going to stop, and that's going to be it?
They're missing the entire point. A train is not about a train. It's not just about moving passengers from point A to point B. It's about economic stimulus. It's about investment. It's about rebranding the Central Valley. It's about mind share. It's about the opportunity to upzone in and around these new transit corridors and take advantage of what this investment means, not just in the short term, but the long term. That's exactly why I was meeting with the mayors. I want them to know that I have their back, not just on this project, but on all the other projects that are happening in this valley. How can we work more closely and collaboratively on getting investment, get Silicon Valley to make investments here in this community? How can we make sure we have a workforce that's commensurate to the economic development needs of this state? And that's a part of the equation, candidly, that's been missing in the past. And I see the anchor of the high-speed rail as the opportunity to stimulate those conversations in a completely different way than we have in the past.
Sure, and you said, you talked about in the State of the State, new transparency measures, also missing. Talk to us about, elaborate on those.
I'm a taxpayer too. I'm beyond outraged and frustrated. Cost overruns and no explanations. Audits that are done, and you're thinking, well, where's my money going? And so we're putting all this online. Change orders, cost overruns will go online, and they're going to have to explain and be held accountable why they're misappropriating or why they had to redirect more money. Maybe it's justifiable, maybe it's not. But here's another thing. I have a personal issue with folks using your money for expenses. Trips for conferences, dinners, or fancy wine is purchased. All those reimbursements, which I imagine are significant, We, over the last few weeks, have been getting every single one of them over the last few years, and I'm putting all of those online as well. Not just the contractors, the consultants. It's taxpayers' money. It better be damn well used appropriately. The only way I can make a case for getting this project done is to make sure that it's a new day, new transparency, new leadership, and new accountability. And I'm just going to try to be straight with people. I'm going to say what it is and what I think it's not. But I'm trying to save this project. I'm trying to do it responsibly. And I'm making a case the worst thing we can do is walk away from it.
Governor, is there any concern on your end that completing the Merced to Bakersfield stuff is in jeopardy in itself? You have Prop 1A issues, you have possible federal audit. Do you think that you definitely are able?
I think the only way to save this project is to do what we're doing and to clarify our intention and to get people focused, not again in a scattershot way, but a laser focused way. There's enough money remaining in the proposition, the $9.95 billion, there's enough remaining, and the cap and trade to get this done. I'm confident of that, or trust me, I want to put myself out on a limb on that. I want to also make the case to folks in Southern California and Northern California that the electrification of Caltrans, those monies that have already been appropriated, will be invested. Union Station in Southern California will finish that work, and we will finish the environmental work. Environmental work will be done by the end of the calendar year for Merced to Bakersfield, and the environmental work for Valley to Valley, Central Valley to Silicon Valley, will be done at the end of next calendar year. That is all part of the new plan we'll be rolling out in the next few months.
What if, Governor, what if we get to the end of this portion, Central Valley, and there's just no more private funding, it's just not there? Are there plans to connect to Amtrak, somehow still get us to San Jose?
So we have the ACE program here and the opportunities to connect the Bay Area, even with that existing infrastructure, or at least the investments that will be made, and we talked to the mayors about that and how I can aid in helping those appropriations. Obviously, there's $400 million in that first down payment. We want to get additional resources targeted that. Bakersfield has the same opportunities to connect their transit opportunities into Southern California. So worst case, we get that done. But for me, worst case is not just train. Worst case is huge rebranding of the Central Valley on economic development and changing the narrative. Because one thing I've learned, if you don't like the way the world looks when you're standing up, stand on your head and go local. Remarkable things are happening in Fresno, in Bakersfield, in Merced. And my job as governor is to express that to an entire state that just sees this part of the state as a drive-by or flyover or just as an agricultural story. It's so much more than that. And that's what, to me, this project represents.
Cool. We got to get him to the next.
Governor, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank
Appreciate it. One more? Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being and boss yes. And then one more transition ambassador here.
Lots to do.
You have some work here.
All right, sir, we know your name, we know what you do, but for the record, will
Sure.
you say spell?
Yeah, Mike Murphy, M-U-R-P-H-Y, Mayor of Merced.
Perfect. And made a little trip down to Fresno.
Yeah,
What happened here today?
well, it's great to be in Fresno, and so the governor was here for a meeting with Mayor of Fresno, the Mayor of Bakersfield, and the three of us had a great conversation with him. And it's actually the fifth time in 5 months that I've met with the governor. So I really appreciate that, the attention that the focus that he's given to the Central Valley, including yesterday at the State of the State address in Sacramento, recognizing that the Central Valley is much more dynamic than many people give it credit for or realize.
What do you think about the kind of the bombshell announcement for everyone in the valley was the high-speed rail that we're going to do just Merced to Bakersfield, not as planned because it's just the path isn't there. Was there some clarification on that, since it was such a social media outburst, everyone going, does that mean it's done? Does that mean, what does this mean? Was there clarification?
Yeah, we spent a lot of time with the governor talking about that, because we're certainly focused on it as well, Merced, Bakersfield, and Fresno. And so, that line will be built, but there's, that's not the end of the story. There will be expansions of that service, groundwork being laid in terms of environmental clearance for expanding that service, in particular to the Bay Area, because that's the connection that is really going to be the most beneficial.
Especially for Merced.
Right, and frankly, Merced will be the closest Central Valley stop to San Jose once that segment becomes operational.
I mean, what would that mean for the city of Merced?
Well, it's an important piece of Merced's future to have good transportation and good connectivity to other parts of the state. We're doing a lot of really great things in Merced. In particular, UC Merced is on this growth pattern where they're doubling the size of their campus by 2020. And so it's creating a lot of opportunities, and the private sector is seeing that as well, and reinvesting in our downtown as a result. And we've got these wonderful graduates, a lot of them engineering and science students, that are sort of changing the demographics of Merced and the Central Valley in general.
Do you think that even a high-speed rail Central Valley portion would help those graduates get to jobs in Bakersfield, or help grow Merced's economy specifically?
I think there has to be more. I think there has to be that spine built, and I think that's the right direction to go. But the long-term viability, I think, looks towards other connectivity options. Now, one thing that hasn't been really mentioned, since the state of the state, is the Altamont Corridor Express train is being extended down to Merced, so there'll be commuter rail options on the ACE train once passengers do get to Merced. But the long-term view is really where we're really focused.
Perfect. What else, other big takeaways from this meeting, things you got to share that you were really proud of in speaking with the governor, and the accessibility has just been great?
Yeah, so spent a lot of time talking about homelessness, and I think we have a shared vision around the need to really help cities in this state, empower cities to address the issue of homelessness, and to have additional state resources to do that. It's an epidemic that the whole state is experiencing, and we also talked about economic development opportunities, in particular for Merced, the developments around Castle Commerce Center and the partnership that they have with the Port of LA to better get goods and services, containers, goods from here to there.
Cool, perfect. I think that's it. Anything else, Mayor?
No, appreciate it.
Awesome,
Yeah.
Mayor. Perfect.
All right, Megan, whenever you're ready.
Perfect. And Mayor, this has been a big day, very exciting. We had State of the State yesterday, and today, Governor Newsom here. You talked, you said, for about an hour?
Yes.
How did it go?
Well, first of all, about a month ago, or 2 months ago, I met the governor, and I thanked him for coming to Fresno, and I said, I hope you come many times over the next 4 years. And to his word, 2 months later, he's coming to Fresno, and he's talking to myself, Mayor Murphy, and Mayor Go about the issues of the high-speed rail, about economic development, and just about any issue we wanted to talk about.
Wow, how, just that accessibility and the promise kept there. What kind of message did that send to you? Well,
to me, we're talking about, the high-speed rail, and Fresno has been ground zero. We've had all the construction, the disruption of our streets, where Merced and Bakersfield have not really been hit too hard yet. So I said, these are real issues. I want to be, the worst thing that can happen is to leave it undone. And he made a commitment that they have the money, and he'll give us realistic timelines to complete the Merced to Bakersfield route. Now, he also mentioned that his commitment is to go beyond that. But when they obtain the money and they get the timelines, at the very least to connect Fresno to San Jose and to San Francisco.
How did hearing that, because after yesterday's announcement blew up on social media, people feeling like their dreams were dashed, because they've been buying into this, and as you said, city getting torn up, feeling the brunt of this. How did hearing that make you feel?
Well, I think he took a lot of flack himself across the state, and I appreciate his honesty and being candid and what he wants to do. And he's spoken like a businessman. He wants transparency, he wants accountability, and that's what I've been talking about all along. that we have realistic goals, we find the money, and we hold people accountable for it. If they're not on time, they've got to pay the price. And so this is a major deal for the quality of life for the city of Fresno. You know, we've had Tulare Street closed for over a year. There's future closures. They've got to be done on a timely basis, and we have to finish this project. And you know, we talked about economic development and what we're doing here in Fresno to change that. And he's offered his support. He listened intently to what we had to say. It was really a good exchange of ideas. He had 3 Republican mayors meeting with the Democratic governor to show you the nonpartisanship. And really, ultimately, we're looking for a partnership with the governor can help Fresno and the Valley and the unique needs that we have in our city.
Mayor, thank you so much. Anything else? I know you gotta probably jet here.
No, this was showing up is half the battle, and hopefully I plan to see you know, Governor Newsom here many times to help us with our problems.
Perfect. Mayor Brand, as always, thank you so much.
You're
sir.
welcome.
Do we need a 2-shot or anything, sir?
Yeah, let me step.
How many times did Governor Brown come visit us?
1 time in 8 years for the opening of the high-speed rail. He's been there at least twice since I've been mayor, so not just as governor, but I'm sure he came down when he was a candidate. So I'm hoping to see him on a regular basis in Fresno, and I hope to visit him in Sacramento.
That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, maybe take him to a Grizzlies game or something like that.
There you go.
That'd be awesome. Mayor, thank you very much. We
You're
appreciate
welcome,
your time.
Mayor.
Per
Thank
usual.
you.
Thank you so much.
You're
sir.
welcome.
Let's do it. 3, 2. California Governor Gavin Newsom in Fresno today, speaking with several Valley mayors and then speaking with us, clarifying whether or not the high-speed rail in the Central Valley portion will ever connect to the Silicon Valley. Maybe one more time, just to be safe. 3, 2. I'm going to cut out the meh a little bit. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Thinking with us, clarifying his state of the state announcement on the Central Valley, clarifying his state of the state announcement regarding the high-speed rail. Okay, 3, 2. California governor. He's the governor. 3, 2. California Governor Gavin Newsom in Fresno, speaking with several Valley mayors. He clarifies his stance on the Central Valley portion of the high-speed rail and whether it will ever connect to the Silicon Valley.